Okay. So, everyone open your book, English student book, page number 14. The first of all, your attendance. Ali Mahmood, Umair, Iman. Who is Mehwish Zahir? Is this Wali?
Yes.
Okay. So, everyone open page number 14. So, we will discuss page number 14 to 15, 16. Okay. Who lives in water? Our topic is who lives on water. Sorry. Who lives on water? When you were discussing ways you use water, did anyone think of using water as a place to live? We didn't think so that we can use water as a living place because people like us like to live on land rather than water. So let's see, map of Bangladesh showing its big river system. So this is the map of Bangladesh where the big river system is on the map. Okay. So today we will read the prose that is non-fictional, means that is true or real. So we will read about that from Going to Extremes by Nick Middleton. So this passage that we are going to read, or this part of lesson, is taken by the book or novel Going to Extremes by Nick Middleton. The following story is about the river Gypsies. So now the story we are going to read is about river gypsies who live and work on their boats in Bangladesh. So river gypsies are the people who live and work on their boats in Bangladesh. Look at the map to see just how large the river delta is in Bangladesh. So river delta is where it is. Ganges River. Okay, we will see. Okay. The river gypsies of Bangladesh are renowned for their skills in handling snakes. So the river gypsies that live in those who live in Bangladesh are renowned for their skills to handle snakes. So basically, their profession is to handle snakes or to deal with the snakes. The writer met the river gypsies. So the writer is going to Bangladesh, went to Bangladesh and met with river gypsies on his travel, and the following text recalls on occasion when these skills were put to good use. Okay, so the writer went to Bangladesh and he experienced some events, and he saw by his on his eyes how the river gypsies did their job and how they handled snakes. So let's see what's written in the glossary. Cobra is a type of poisonous snake found in Asia and Africa. We all know that cobra is a snake. Delta is land formed at the mouth of a river by mud and sand brought there by the water. So delta is a kind of a land. So word origin. Let's see the word origin of gypsies, from where this word has been derived or came from. Gypsies were originally thought to have come from Egypt. So gypsies were originally thought to have come from Egypt. This word is from Egypt. Means these people have come from Egypt, which is where the name comes from. So the gypsies name came from Egypt. Gypsies are traveling people. So gypsies are traveling people, and their language Romani is related to Hindi. Today they are gypsies all over the world. So their telling us that gypsies are found all over the world these days. So, everyone, let's discuss before reading the main text, let's discuss the word pool. We have some words to discuss. Okay. So these are the words. First word is to dangle. Dangle means is to hang freely. Hang something freely. For example, in this text, they will hang their hands in front of the boxes or in front of the snake boxes. So to dangle is meaning is to hang freely. Commotion. Next word is commotion. Commotion means the act of making a noisy disturbance. When there is a disturbance, noise we see, or any movement that will confuse you, would be commotion. Next word is to coax. To coax means influence or urge. Influence someone or influence something or urge something by gentle urging means by showing your gentleness to influence some pet or some, for example, influence snakes also by showing your gentle gestures like flattering or caressing. Flattering is also to butter someone. Influence or urge by gentle urging, caressing, same thing. Next word is sideboard. A removable board fitted on the side of a wagon to increase its capacity. Sideboard is any kind of board that can be movable. Okay, this board can be found underneath the bed also. So this is the sideboard. Proceedings can be anything like law proceedings or anything that is sequential or that people does step by step. Okay, so proceedings can be lawful as well, like the institution of a sequence of steps by which legal judgments are invoked, means legal judgments can be given after the proceedings. Next word is expertly, in an expert manner. Okay, do something in very expert manner means you are expert to do something, you are very good to do something. Next word is to cover. Shows submission or fear means something is fearful. That that means to cover. Okay, like covered is the word that is used for the person who is not brave. So who fear of something, if you are afraid of something, that means to cover. Next word is faithful. Faithful means any loyal or steadfast following, means someone who is very loyal. Hooded would be the word that we will find in the text. Hooded means an aggressive and violent young criminal, something or some animal that is very violent or very aggressive or very dangerous. So now let's get back to our lesson. Okay. So river gypsies. Now we will understand what river gypsies are. What do they do? Okay, my Indian friend Babu and I stood amongst the crowd watching the river gypsies. So he and his friend, who was Indian, was standing in front of the crowd watching the river gypsies with their snakes. So they were watching the river gypsies who were handling their snakes, like you can see in the picture as well. Beside them were several wooden boxes. Beside them were several wooden boxes in which they kept their snakes. So they used to keep the snakes like pets.
भाई
So
पहले
they had boxes where they used to keep the snakes.
वो नहीं अब टीचर
From
मुझे एंड नहीं करेंगे पहली बार दिन नहीं करते मतलब कि
okay,
क्लास में नहीं आने देते
from one of these boxes, one of the gypsies had produced half a dozen small snakes which were winding themselves round their wrist like bright green bangles. So there were some gypsies who were having snakes in their wrists, like the way the snakes were looking like they are wearing the bangles. They were whirling round their wrists. The other gypsy who wore a purple headscarf. So there was one gypsy who wore purple headscarf tied round his forehead, was dangling his hand in front of the hooded cobra, which was rising up for another box, up from another box. So he were dangling means he were hanging his hand in front of the dangerous or hooded fearful cobra, which was rising from an other box. The crowd watched in horror and delight. Means the crowd was in horror. Means the crowd was scared of snakes also, and they were amused also by seeing the snakes like this. Suddenly, there was a small commotion in the crowd. Suddenly, there was a small commotion. Means there were a small restlessness in the crowd, means a movement that was rare, like this. Okay, where were I? Okay, suddenly they saw some disturbance from in the crowd, like something was happening in the crowd. They heard a lot of noise in the crowd, and an old man came forward. After that, an old man came forward and spoke to the river gypsies. Okay, an old man came and he spoke to the river gypsies, who immediately began to coax their snakes. Okay, when he talked to the river gypsies. All the gypsies were trying to coax their snakes, means they were padding their snakes to go, or they were influencing their snakes to go into their boxes again. So they were coaxing their snakes. The old man has a snake in his house. Okay, Babu explained to me. Okay, that old man who came forward to speak to the river gypsies had a snake in his house too. Babu explained to the writer. So let's come to the next page. Okay, the crowd followed the river gypsies to the old man's house. The crowd means the whole crowd were following the old man, means they were going to the old man's house to watch out what's been happening. That's why the old man, what they were just trying to know what old man has said to the gypsies. Old man house, the backyard of which sloped down to the flooded fields, means they were gathering in the backyard. One of the river men gathered some earth from the entrance and rubbed it between his hands. Okay, one of the old men gathered some mud or sand in his hand, and he was rubbing that sand in his hands. He smelled it, means he also smelt it, and gave it to his colleagues in the purple headscarf to do the same. Means they were trying to smell the sand that was in the old man's backyard. They were trying to smell the sand, and they were telling the other gypsies to test the sand, means to smell the sand to find out something. They were trying to find out something. If the earth smells of fish, so the what is the myth behind that? The myth behind that is that if the earth smells of fish, then the men know there's a snake inside. So if when they were smelling the sand, if the sand or the earth is basically the sand, the earth smells of fish. If the earth is smelling like fish, then that means there's some snake hidden in the um, inside the earth, means inside the sand. So this is the way they used to understand, that they used to get themselves alarmed by the situation that there is some snakes, so we need to be aware of that. The river gypsies entered the main room, which had a bed on one side. So the river gypsies entered the room, means they were entering the room of the old man, where there was a bed in one on one side, and a neat row of cooking pots hung above a sideboard on the other. And there were some cooking pots also, like a very old house. The owner of the house evidently pleased to see a foreigner. So the old man was very pleased, was very amused to see some foreigner in his house, and he welcomed him. Beckoned me into his bedroom. Beckon means to give you some sign, to some what you can say, gesture, to some, to point out at some place, to direct you to go there. Like if I will beckon you to sit in that sofa, means I'm telling you, I'm giving you a gesture that to go and sit and on that sofa. Into his bedroom means he directed him into his bedroom to for his rest, and pointed to the bed, and he pointed to the bed. This was the safest place from which to watch the proceedings. So that place was the safest, means safest in sense of that the snakes, the gypsies knew how to handle the snakes, but the foreigners, the new people, didn't know how to handle the snakes. They even didn't know how to get themselves safe from the snakes. So the gypsies, the old man asked him to go to his bedroom, and because that bedroom was the safest place to watch the proceedings. Suddenly, there was a commotion beneath the sideboard, and the river gypsy with the purple headscarf darted underneath it. He emerged holding a full-sized cobra as long as his arm. So that river gypsies, the old man had a full-sized cobra in his arm. The snake hissed as the river gypsy expertly twisted his arm to prevent the snake from striking him. Means he was holding the snake like this so that the gypsies get themselves safe from the snake's attack or striking. Striking means to beat something. The crowd let out a collective gasp as he began to force the cobra into one of his box. So this is the way they used to get the cobra from the earth, from the sand, and they used to put them into their boxes. But the show was not over yet. Here, the show is not over. There are some other proceedings also. There were some other events that the writers watched. The other river gypsy had his head beneath the bed on which I was covering. He emerged in a flash holding a second cobra, just as long as his as the first. So he from underneath the bed they found another cobra. Husband and wife, cried Babu. Cobras are faithful partners. They always travel together. So they're saying that these two snakes are husband and wife, and cobras are very faithful partners. They go together wherever they want to go. They travel together. So, everyone, this was your lesson. So, let's discuss the question answers. But we will do this comprehension to next time. I will send you and you will write it. What caused a small commotion in the crowd? Why there was a small commotion in the crowd means noisy in the crowd, because it was a noise in the crowd. It was a small commotion in the crowd because the old man was coming to the gypsies to alarm them to put their snakes into their boxes, back into their boxes. And the old man was trying to alarm the other gypsies that there is an other, I think in the backyard of my house there are other snakes that can be smelled in the earth. So that's why there was a small commotion to, because something was happening. Why did the gypsies immediately start to put their snakes back in their boxes? Why they put their snakes back into their boxes? Because they were going to the old man's house to find out what's weird thing that's happening over there, or to find out the new snake. They had to cover their old snakes, and if the old snakes are in the boxes, then they can focus on the other snake that are going to be discovered. How did the river gypsies know that there was a snake inside the house? How did the river gypsies know that there was a snake inside the house? They got to know that there is a snake inside the house because they smelled the earth or sand, and it smelled like a fish. So they got to know that there is surely some snake in the earth or in that house. How did the old man?
This is our
How did
homework.
this is your homework, but I will send you the question answers the way I did before. जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भेजे थे ना, the same way I will
Yeah,
send you and you will write.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
How did the old man show his pleasure at seeing a foreigner in his house? He showed his pleasure to guide him to go to the safer place, like he asked him to go to his bedroom, and to sit in a one side of his bed. So he showed his comfort or pleasure to see a foreigner. He wanted The old man wanted the foreigner, the writer, to be safe enough from the snakes. Why didn't the snake from underneath the sideboard bit the man? Why didn't the snake from the underneath the sideboard bite the man? ऐसा क्यों हुआ कि जो snake उन्होंने discover किया उसने man को bite नहीं किया? Why didn't the snake bite the man? Because the old man or the gypsies were trained enough that they could hold the snake like this, that the snakes are unable to bite them. They are trained to hold the snakes like this, so that they can prevent the snakes to strike the gypsies or to bite them. Okay, everyone. Any questions you
Okay.
want to ask?
No.
It's a very short story and it's clear cut story. That the story was about snakes and about gypsies, the man who used to handle the snakes and used to pet the snakes basically.
Yeah.
And in normal people don't pet the snakes. People are afraid of snakes. Nobody likes snakes, and snakes that are cobras are very vicious and very dangerous creatures. They are very poisonous
Yeah.
also. So everyone, and any question?
No.
Okay, so in Ramzan, we will have lecture for only 30 minutes. So our time is very short now, just because of Ramzan. So our lecture will be about 30 minutes. And now I
Okay.
think it's 9:30, so I'm going to stop the recording. So I'll send you
Okay.
the question answers in your WhatsApp group. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, everyone, take care. Allah
Please.
Hafiz.
Allah, please take your stand. I'm sure.